Welcome, everybody. I'm going to give us 1 minute to let a few more people start coming in. We have people entering now. So I'm gonna give us 1 minute, and then we are going to get started at 10:01. So I'm just going to give everybody a few more minutes to get in here. Thank you very much for attending. If if you happen to not be able to hear, or you're having technical difficulties for some reason, if multiple people are experiencing technical difficulties, it might be something on our end. So if you could raise your hand or put a question in the Q&A, we have somebody keeping an eye on that. Anyways, we are going to get started here in 30 seconds. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate everybody showing up to our webinar. This is the first in a three-part webinar series where we're going to be talking about Microsoft Copilot. This first session is going to be a Microsoft Copilot Basics, and without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jon Cooper. I'm the president and CEO of Total Secure Technology. We are a managed IT support company who's been doing business in the Sacramento Valley for the past 27 years. We have probably a handful of our clients on here, but for those of you who are maybe new to us, what we do for our clients is we become their complete IT department. We provide them with managed IT support, managed IT security, and managed IT projects. So again, I just want to make sure that everybody understands this is going to be a very basic explanation of Microsoft Copilot, and we'll do a few tutorials. On December 18th, we have planned an intermediate course where we'll get a little bit more in depth, and then we'll finish the series out in probably around the middle of January. That date's to be announced as of right now. And we're going to get into some advanced Copilot tools like leveraging agents. It'll be very useful information. And again, thank you everybody for being here. Super appreciate that. We'll move right along here. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about Microsoft Copilot in these applications: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Teams. I'm going to leave Outlook out. And then we're going to talk about licensing and deployment for small and mid-sized businesses. We'll do live demos as we're going through here today. And we'll talk about the security and privacy compliances. And then we'll also talk about some Copilot licensing, how you can activate the Copilot features. And then how TST can help you succeed, and we'll cover some questions. Feel free to drop your questions as we're going along into the Q&A panel. We have somebody keeping an eye on that. And, if it's relevant to what we're talking about in that moment, we will probably pause and actually try to answer that question. So without further ado, I'll get started here. So Microsoft Copilot is basically an artificial intelligence power productivity partner within Microsoft 365 environment, right? If you license Copilot within your tenancy for a particular user, Copilot starts showing up in all of the applications: Teams, Word, PowerPoint, and it really basically saves you time. Again, like I said, I developed this entire presentation. I'm going to show you what I started with this presentation, and then what the outcomes are. The outcomes are actually what you're seeing here in these slides, but I'll get into a little bit of the detail. And basically, Microsoft Copilot is saving organizations hours on end on a daily basis. And if you times that by your entire staff, it can be it could really help you move the needle. So Copilot in Word, and basically what can you do? You can draft proposals. You can create scopes of work. You can prompt for outlines. You can rewrite basically anything that's in a Word document. You can have it rewritten for tone, length, and clarity. You can summarize documents, and you can extract action items. So I'm going to get into that a little bit right here. So I think I have cheat sheet going on here. So I'm actually going to, pardon the delay here. I'm going to reduce this. I'm going to go to back to that Word document. So I had a conversation. So I know we're starting in Word, but I'm going to pull a conversation out of Teams that I had with a prospective client. So I'm going to grab that on another screen here. I'm going to grab those notes, go back to Word, and I'm going to open Copilot on the side here. And I'm going to ask Copilot, please create a scope of work based on this conversation with a prospective client. And look at that. Looks like I spelled everything correctly. I'm a terrible speller. But let's see. Control C. And we'll see what it comes up with. So it's analyzing my data, right? It's going to go through. It was a very long prompt that I gave it because there was a lot of information in the conversation that I had with the prospective client. So it's going to analyze the conversation, and then it's going to basically start putting together what it is that I asked for in terms of that scope of work. It talks about who. It's basically telling me here. I should probably open this up bigger. It's basically telling me so I put in an exact transcript of the call. So it was a Teams message. Teams will summarize a call, or it can give you an exact transcript of everything said. So I grabbed the transcript and I put it in here. And basically what it did is it's going to help me formulate an SOW. Please review the draft. Okay, so and just for sake of time, I'm going to act like I reviewed it and I'm happy with it. And I'm going to say, please, I'm very polite when I work with Copilot. So please finalize the document. And basically, you're going to see that it's probably going to drop into the document. Well, actually, it's probably going to give me an opportunity to push it over to the document here in just a second. I could have done this basically exact same thing. Please review the contents. I do want to say that the Copilot is not perfect, right? Sometimes it asks for things multiple times. But anyways, let's see here. Review the contents. Let me know if there's any changes. Once confirmed, you can copy and paste it into the document. So it's asking me to do it. I know that it will do it also, but let's just copy it. We'll do it their way. And you can see here that we have a pretty detailed scope of work for this client based on a transcribed conversation that I had with this prospective client. And it talks about the fees and, you know, kind of where the edges are on what we talked about on the call. And anyways, so you can see there that in Word, it created a pretty comprehensive scope of work. All right, so I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to get back to my PowerPoint. So that was an example in Copilot, or that was an example in Word, and then I'm going to get to our next one here, which is Excel. Right, you can analyze trends and outliers in plain language, generate plain text, or generate and explain formulas. Build charts and pivots automatically within Excel. So if you're not an Excel, I'm not a huge Excel user myself, but this tool, Copilot, will really help you leverage Excel maybe in a more advanced way. And let me get into that one. So I asked Copilot to give me some dummy data. So this is nobody's actual data, but what I asked it to do, I said, create a dummy spreadsheet for that has sales data for, I think, 6 different territories. Okay, so basically it did that. And if I go over here to Copilot, I'm going to open this up big. I'm going to grab all the data. I'm going to click Copilot. Turn autosave on. I don't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to have another little technical difficulty. So let's see. Let's click Analyze Data. So Analyze Data is basically the exact same prompts as Copilot, but you can see here where it will give you relevant data on this particular spreadsheet, and it will tell you information about what's in the spreadsheet. It'll help you look for trends. I'm going to try this one more time. I only work with files and autosave, so let's turn on autosave. At the last minute, I had to switch computers because with almost anything, you know, Murphy's Law, so let's ask let's ask Copilot. That's another thing is Copilot is leveraging OpenAI's technology of ChatGPT. So you can basically turn on ChatGPT or leave it off. Either way, it's not going to affect your privacy or any sensitive data, because if you're leveraging Copilot with a license, then you're going to be grandfathered into all of the security practices that it has for organizations. So, but let me ask Copilot to help me analyze this data in a visual way. And then I'm going to click go, see what it tells us. Let's see. All right. All right. Copilot doesn't want to work right now. Okay, we're going to come back to that one. You can see here it gives you prompts, right? How Copilot can help you with this workbook, summarize the data in this workbook. But for some reason, Copilot wants to tank on me right now. But that's kind of perfect because we're in a live demo. But no worries, we're going to keep moving. When working properly, it's going to show you trends in this data in a pie chart, in a line graph, so on and so forth. Brett, can you guys still hear me? Because Nisa told me that you couldn't.
Yeah, we can hear you now. You cut out for a minute, but
Okay.
I think you're fine.
Do you want to announce the question that you said there was in there?
Sure. It kind of goes along with what you just answered, but the question was, does Copilot save all the data? So if it's sensitive or confidential, it will be public after uploading for analysis, as you did the transcripts of Teams calls, etc.
Yeah. No. So if you're a licensed Copilot, so a Copilot license, we're going to get to it towards the end, is around $20 per month per user. But again, it's probably doing 100 or 1,000 times more than that for you in productivity every month, or it can. Um, so if you're a paid licensed subscriber of Copilot, none of the information you're giving it is going to be used for the large language model training. So it's all private. So anyways, I'm going to get back to my PowerPoint here. Play from current slide. So sorry for the Excel difficulty there. We did have that problem on my other computer, so it might be related to my profile. Hopefully, we're not going to have that problem in Teams or in PowerPoint, but I'm going to keep going here just for sake of time. And then, okay, so basically PowerPoint, uh, Copilot in PowerPoint will basically help you generate slides from a Word document or an outline, rewrite speaker notes, uh, leverage or simplify dense slides, and then it can also give you suggestions. So let me get into PowerPoint demo here. And again, I apologize for the I'm going to drag my screen over here that we were working on. I'm going to, I think I'll probably have to end the show. So let's do that. I'm going to pull this back over for a second. Just bear with me for 2 seconds here. Um, I'm going to pull my slides back over. I'm going to turn on Copilot up here. I'm going to go down to a slide. So basically all my slides were generated with a ChatGPT request. The ChatGPT request brought up slides like this, and I was able to say, please provide me with a mock up image of this slide. Please work. Okay. So anyways, I can still communicate what happened. So basically what happens in Microsoft Copilot, so you can see here, this was my agenda. This is what Microsoft Copilot generated for me when it was working properly. So I apologize for that. This is what, better go down here. So this was the slide before Microsoft Copilot created this image that I was able to drop on top of my original template. Okay, so, and again, a lot of this was generated in ChatGPT. So I leveraged ChatGPT. I said, hey, I want to do a 45-minute presentation. It basically developed those slides for me. Then I took those slides and I pulled it into PowerPoint. And then I asked PowerPoint Copilot to give me a mocked up version of the, and it generated all these images that you're seeing here. So again, I apologize about the technical difficulties that we're having with this button. This button is working for every other person in my company. So for whatever reason, it's not working in my particular. I switched computers at the very end of or right before the hour so that we could avoid this technical difficulty, but the problem is following me to different computers. So it might be something going on with my profile. But anyways, you get the point. Microsoft Copilot in PowerPoint can generate images like this based on prompts, right? So it based the entire image that it created off of this very rudimentary request that it had, or this very rudimentary slide that we were working off of. So then I just basically dropped this image, basically says the exact same thing. It's just more visually appealing. All right, so that was Copilot with PowerPoint. I'm going to pull this back over. I'm going to click slideshow, play from current slide. Okay, so I'm back into the PowerPoint presentation. That was Word, Excel, technical difficulties, PowerPoint, technical difficulties. Apologize for that. And then Teams. I'm not expecting to have too much trouble here with Teams based on what it is that I want to show you. So I use that conversation. So this was a conversation that I had with a prospective client back on October 23rd, 2025. It was a conversation that was recorded in Teams. It was a Teams conversation. So basically after the call, Teams will summarize basically what it is that it will summarize what it is that the conversation was. Okay, so I think I told you I grabbed the entire transcript of the call. It was a 30-minute call, so it's quite a long transcript, but this is basically verbatim what each person said in the conversation. But what I like about it best, we don't really go back to the transcript all that much unless we need to create a very detailed document. But what's nice about Microsoft Teams with Copilot enabled is that it gives you a very nice summary of what was talked about and the follow-up tasks that need to happen. Now you can copy that, you can send that to another team member. If you wanted to drill into a part of the conversation that was had, right? So if you drill into a particular part of the conversation, In the recap, it'll take you to that exact spot in the meeting where you can maybe review what was said if maybe something didn't come through well on a transcript, or maybe Copilot didn't communicate the deliverable correctly. You can actually go back to the actual recorded call and see what was said. But this is very useful in terms of so almost every meeting that we do in our organization is done in a recorded Teams way. So every internal meeting we have, almost every external meeting that we have. So we don't have, so at the end of every meeting, so we do a technical business review with our clients on a semi-regular cadence depending on the size of the client. So used to, we would have to take copious notes at those meetings, bring that information back to the office, write a summary up, and present it to the client on what the to-dos were coming out of the meeting, whether they were ours or whether they were the client's. So with the advent of Teams and this Copilot feature and this summarization, we're saving hours on end for every meeting that we have, both internally and externally as an organization. So yeah, so that's how we're leveraging Teams. Was there any other questions right now, Brett?
No questions on that piece.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm going to get back to the presentation then. Play from current slide. Okay, so that was the Teams demonstration. So security, that was one of the questions that came up, right? Copilot data stays in your Microsoft 365 tenancy. So leveraging Microsoft Copilot with any Microsoft 365 application is no less dangerous than manipulating the data yourself, right? So it's data that lives in your tenancy. So if you trust that the data that's living in your Microsoft 365 tenancy now is secure, it's no less secure with Microsoft Copilot. There's no training on what Copilot is doing for its large language model. None of that is going back to OpenAI. So you guys probably know that OpenAI, ChatGPT, has gotten a lot of investment from Microsoft. So they're heavily leveraging ChatGPT in this Copilot model. And that Copilot model is not being used to train any of the OpenAI large language model. So you have the exact same administrative controls within Copilot that you would have in any other aspect of managing your Microsoft 365 tenancy. And for our clients, they don't have to manage their Microsoft 365 tenancy. We do that for them. And then it's using all responsible artificial intelligence principles. Microsoft Copilot is. So licensing and deployment. So basically, Microsoft Copilot is an add-on in your Microsoft 365 plans for each additional user. I mentioned that it's about $20 per month per licensed user, but it does save that licensed user a lot of time with the ability, when working properly, to get help. Like you might not have somebody super creative on your team, but they can develop PowerPoint presentations. They can develop PowerPoint presentations based off of a conversation that you had with a particular client, or because the meeting maybe was recorded in a Teams meeting. So it's just, it's very incestuous in its ability to bring information in from multiple applications within Microsoft 365. And then, so basically what we like to do for clients is help them decide maybe who needs to be licensed in the organization. That's something that we can help do. And then we want to get the Copilot set up and measure and train and scale around it. And then we also want to help enable guardrails with how to use it, right? We don't recommend using any artificial intelligence company, right, whether that's Gronk, Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, right? It doesn't matter what flavor you're using. We recommend doing that behind an acceptable use policy around AI, and we have those templated, so we make that easy for you guys to implement within your organizations. Let's see. So we already talked about the fact that this was the Copilot Basics. We are doing the Copilot Intermediate training or webinar. Hardly really a training when we can only get to things for 5 or 6 minutes for each feature. But yeah, we'll be talking about Microsoft Copilot in an intermediate way on December 18th, and then in an advanced way in the beginning of January. So let's see. So how can we help? Well, Total Secure Technology can come to your office and we can do a readiness assessment and a licensing guidance, right, to see who will be best served by having a Copilot license. We can make sure your tenancy is configured correctly. We can do some user training and adoption around it. And then we obviously provide ongoing support, governance, and help you track an ROI for Copilot. So right now, we can open it up for Q&A. You can see there, if you wanted to get a hold of us, you can use that QR code. And that would be one easy, good way to get a hold of us. That's going to take you out to our website so you can get a little bit more information about Total Secure Technology.
Hey, John, we did get another question.
Yeah.
And you kind of went over it a little bit, but question came up. We have been told not to use ChatGPT due to client file privacy. Any workaround to protect data?
Absolutely. So you definitely do not want to use the free versions of ChatGPT, but we are heavily leaning into both Copilot and ChatGPT. We signed up for a corporate license for ChatGPT, and basically, again, it kind of goes back to Copilot's not using your data, right? If you pay the license fee, the $20 per month per user, it's not using, you really can't even use Copilot without a license. So it's not using your data for the large language model to train on the large language model, meaning it doesn't put your information out on the World Wide Web or out anywhere. So, and the same works with ChatGPT. You can buy a ChatGPT license, even if you buy, like ChatGPT has a personal license that you can use personally. It's $20 a month. And anything that you put in ChatGPT at that point is not, according to them, right, is not helping the large language model learn, which means your data is safe and secure to the extent that anybody's data anywhere is safe and secure. They are, they are protecting your privacy because you're paying the license fee. I hope that answered the question. If not, we're going to stick around here for a couple more minutes to cover any other questions. But yeah, that is the Copilot basic presentation. Again, I'm sorry that we had some technical difficulties. Sounds like maybe we had a little internet hiccup where people maybe couldn't hear. I apologize for that. Hopefully we went back far enough and you could you got the point of the Teams, how we leverage Copilot in Teams. And if there's no other questions, then we can probably wrap.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions. That was the last one that came up. So.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you very much. I hope to have you guys at our intermediate with way less technical difficulties. And I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll let you guys get back to your day. Thank you very much.